All right, welcome to Smokey Reacts. I'm your boy journalist. On this one, I kind of wanted to dip my toe into this particular type of content because I've been watching a lot of Signified B-sides lately. Just kind of getting more into his content. I've kind of seen some of his videos before, but this seemed like one that kind of piqued my interest. Felt like I wanted to react to it at the same time. Figured it'd be pretty good. This is going to be the Black Manosphere's favorite white girl. I've seen not so pearly things all over my timeline for at least a year now, I think. So I just kind of wanted to get a little bit more information, see what my guy had to say. I kind of like his the even-handed nature in which he approaches these things. So this is kind of why I wanted to kind of check this out. So thank you guys very much for joining me. If you could please hit that like, subscribe, Patreon's in the description, and let's get into this.
Y'all. This is Just Pearly Things. Just Pearly Things.
Excuse me, Just Pearly Things, not so pearly things.
Is the most shameless grifter I feel like I've ever seen. There's levels of grifting, right? So like you got like your Kevin Samuels, right? Kevin Samuels has a story where I think everything about him was genuine, except for, of course, him like pretending to be like this high value man and making money and having high career stuff. Like, I think his beliefs were very genuine. In fact, he was hiding how hard he believed in a lot of the shit he did because he was a hardcore Republican type dude. And like Candace Owens had that flying the milk, black people thought I made fun of me experience that makes sense of the fact that she would be easily convinced to say, I'm gonna just grift Republican money.
Let's not also forget Candace Owens also used the NAACP to help her win in some case that was based on the fact that she was being made fun of because she was a black girl. So I find it very funny how she does not speak with the memory of how she now speaks, where she's like, oh, well, my skin color has no issue or any bearing on anything that I deal with in my life, versus you've actively used the NAACP to help bolster the fact that you were a black girl being treated poorly in some particular situation. And that's like just the duplicitous nature of how she does things. I'm just like, I really hate that bird.
Andrew Tate to me is a genuine monster in his rhetoric, and like he was an abuser, he's all those things. Like, that's
Facts.
really who he was. Most of the Manosphere, Black Manosphere dudes, and most of the Manosphere like consumers, these are your incels, these are your people that went through divorces and breakups and all these things, where like I understand, I don't agree, but I understand how they get to where they are in terms of this red pill nonsense. Most people in this space, the Manosphere red pill space, while I don't agree with them, and while I think what they're doing is incredibly harmful, I genuinely believe that there's an element of honesty in what they're doing, right? This woman here is basically just like, these niggas love this shit, I'ma do it. It's so blatantly hollow that like how unserious she is about what she's doing.
I just want to point out, cuss freezing is not me. That is blood's stream. That's not me.
But because she's clever and quick on her feet with these talking points, because she's a white woman, and because her audience does not care, well, they used to not care, half of them do now, but because her core audience does not care about any actual genuine, like, doesn't care about authenticity as long as you hate women, because of those things, she in there. And she is everywhere right now. So you're saying, who is this? Her name is Just Pearly Things. She is from, I think y'all said, Iowa. And she grew up highly privileged. There's pictures of like the house she grew up in. It's like this huge ass mansion. She is single. She is career driven. She doesn't work out that much. She's not that intelligent by her own words. Like, you can't call her a trad wife because she doesn't want any of those things. She is not at all interested in any of the rhetoric she spews. Yet, if you watch any of her videos, it's basically her doing the Manosphere talking points. Women cause divorce, and women need to be submissive, and nobody cares about men, and just all this stuff. And she's just a female fresh and fit. She's a white woman fresh and fit. But because she's a white woman, that is novel in this space. She's a pick-me, but she doesn't actually want to get picked. That's what makes it so funny, right? It's not really like her thing. But she knows those talking points work. And the reason why I'm even talking about this is because there's never been, like, if you watch my Manosphere video, especially the Black Manosphere one, because the first two, I didn't dive into the actual community a lot. I just talked about the atmosphere, right? But in the Black Manosphere one, I called out the fact that a lot of these dudes try to act like what they really care about is black men and boys, or what they really care about is the black family, and that there's a deeper meaning to what they're doing. But at every opportunity, apart from, I'm sure, a few exceptions, what you tend to see is they will champion and hold up anyone that talks shit about women, especially black women. Now, I haven't watched her enough to see if...
See, my particular position on any of this is I care about just people being in healthy relationships. I don't give a fuck what race you in or whatever, but I'm definitely not about to sit here and champion anybody just particularly tearing down women or tearing down black women specifically, or just going too far left or right of the particular, like, not even middle ground, just the removal of, like, double standards and fucking posturing that happens in a lot of these spaces that I see, where men, and particularly women as well, they'll say some shit that I'm just like, it doesn't hold water unless you find a person that is willing to agree to your double standards or looks at life the way that you look at it. So when I see a lot of these people that, like, speak about these topics, like why I've enjoyed FD stuff, is because he seems to hold a really good, I'm not posturing for one side, I'm not doing it for this, I'm particularly just laying the facts out there. And doesn't it seem fucking foolish that these are the facts out there, but people are saying this thing on this side, people are saying this thing on this side? That's kind of where I've been able to enjoy his content, because I don't get it. Like, I don't understand how these spaces have become so large and toxic at the same time, because they're just massive echo chambers, and they perpetuate a lot of antiquated ideas and gender norms and roles that I'm just like, bro, like, it just makes life tougher for you. Like, it doesn't make sense, like, at all, why you can't, like, rely on your woman and she can't rely on you, or her reliance on you is just due to the fact that you're a man, not you're a good person and she trusts you and can rely on you. Like, the fact you have a penis changes fuck all to the dynamic to me. The fact that you're a good person, accountable and reliable, and that person can trust these things and you, that's what makes a healthy relationship. So this is why I'm just like, does your gender role or norm even fucking matter at that point? And I'm like, no, it doesn't. But yet they're like, oh, I'm a man, I'm supposed to protect, I'm supposed to get all the money and spend it, her money's hers, mine's. I'm just like, you're an idiot. That's not a healthy relationship. It's not healthy at all.
If she does a lot of slander around black women, I feel like she can't do too much, because I feel like there'd have been more people who would have got her if she did that. At least within this space, the Manosphere, Black Manosphere space, I wouldn't say most pick-me's are grifters, because in my observation, I think they genuinely believe what they're saying. Many of them are married, and that's just, like, it's a grift to an extent, but at least there's a belief system behind the grift. But here's what happened, though. So she had been, when Andrew Tate went to jail and kind of fell off a little bit, I mean, I'm assuming he has, I ain't been paying attention. She kind of rose up the ranks to be like the next big voice. You know, everybody, like, Fresh and Fit kind of like hit a plateau. Andrew Tate.
They plateaued because they came for Abba and Preach, though. Like, they came for Abba and Preach and turned into some real suckers. Man can't be on fucking camera talking about you trying to box, man. And then when my man said, not only am I ready to box, I'll be in America ASAP, and I'll box both of you bitches, bitch one and bitch two. And neither one of you, man, is trying to fight. I'm not hearing none of this. Oh, I've got a business, none of that shit. Nigga, you outside talking, especially on the internet. Stand on that shit. Stand on that shit, especially when you out here actively committing verbal violence towards people. It's like, yo, I'll beat that nigga up, and I have no problem with it. Like, we could throw hands. Nigga say he would throw hands. Come on, let's get in the ring. Put the gloves on. Stop playing with a nigga. Like, that's where they fell off, I think, is in the Manosphere space. They tried to present like that fake ass, dumbass alpha shit, and then got called out on it by somebody who in the Manosphere would be considered a beta or a sigma, and also in the black Manosphere, somebody that would be considered a traitor because he's in an interracial relationship. I don't feel this way. I'm just saying how the sphere looks at Preach because he is in an interracial relationship, and the positions he holds or the way he carries himself sometimes comes off effeminate to some people. So now they're not looking at Preach like how they would typically look at somebody else, and then you get called out like that by somebody like that as being fresh and fit. It's like niggas not on smoke like that. So it's just like they plateaued due to just trying to bump heads with some OGs.
Hit his plateau and it's starting to die down. So she rose up behind them. It was kind of like just business as usual. I would have never talked about her like directly, but then she did something really interesting a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a little over a month ago. She decided to bring on Nick Fuentes to her show. And
Nick
for
Fuentes.
those who don't know, Nick Fuentes is an overt white supremacist who was bigger in the pre-Unite the Right rally world of YouTube. Nick Fuentes was a YouTuber, was an anti-SJW type guy. So Fuentes had his major reign and they got deplatformed because he's an overt white supremacist neo-Nazi, like he is. This is not a conversation or an argument. But Fuentes never stopped making content. He was dying on the vine, on Rumble, and whatever other alternative spaces existed, and was not of any real consequence until, I hate to bring him up again because I ain't talked about this motherfucker in months, but I gotta talk about this. From my perspective, it wasn't until fucking Destiny brought him back into the fold of the public discourse that Fuentes managed to reemerge as something significant, which is why we don't do shit like that. Because
shout out to my nigga. He's so comfortable with his audience. Nigga out here peeling oranges. Cutting niggas down to such ease. He's out here peeling oranges. Shout out to my man.
Because nobody was thinking or talking about Nick Fuentes until he started popping up on Destiny and eating cookies with his wife or whatever the fuck that nonsense was.
Would be a good wife. So I got peanut butter sandwiches.
Whoa!
But this whole time, Fuentes has not stopped being an overt white supremacist, has not stopped talking about being anti-race missing, has not stopped being anti-Semitic the whole time. Next thing you know, Fuentes is talking is Kanye West's fucking so if you remember what the Kanye West nonsense was a couple of months ago, where he was running around various right-wing talk shows, that was Nick Fuentes with him. Nick Fuentes, on top of being a white supremacist, also is obsessed with Kanye West. He's a explicitly weird dude. But if you are a grifter type, if you have no scruples or sense of responsibility about your platform, Nick Fuentes makes for good TV. He makes for good content. So, of course, if you want to have good content and you don't care about the consequences of spreading anti-Semitism and white supremacy like a Destiny, then you're going to bring him on. And so after Destiny, he pops up on No Jumper. He pops up on all kinds of shit. And of course, he pops up running around with Kanye West. Thankfully, even in the Black Manosphere, there's a level of integrity. Well, in half the Black Manosphere. And so these motherfuckers never popped up this motherfucker never popped up in the Black Manosphere. But when he popped up on Just Pearly Things, his podcast or whatever the hell she does, it caused a problem. Because Just Pearly Things, because she knows her grift well, she hosts the show with 3 black dudes. Like, people tell me, is it 2 black dudes and a black woman, all from the UK? We have Just Pearly Things, the rich white girl from Iowa, who doesn't care about any of this shit, but knows she's getting money. Are these them? and then two niggas from the UK, and I think a black woman, and Nick Fuentes, I guess. And from what I understand, like, because Just Pearly Things doesn't actually have a real dog in this game, Fuentes is doing, like, to be fair on whatever level to Destiny. At least when Fuentes was in Destiny's presence, Destiny was calling him a white supremacist and pointing out his bullshit. It's still exploitative and irresponsible, but it's one notch above overt dereliction of duty. And when Fuentes is on her thing, she's just like, wow, that's interesting. He's just saying racist shit, and she's not pushing back on anything. It's the same dumbass smile.
Did you think that makes me a white supremacist to say that?
No, that kind of makes sense, like what you're saying. Personally, I'm trying to get my Africans in America, so we're not gonna support that. Look at, please make it easy for me to immigrate next.
This is the well-meaning liberal, not just white folks, but the well-meaning liberal folks like this. Just like, how do you give them access to the community or to these spaces or to have platforms to speak? Like, this motherfuckers, I'm trying to get my Africans to immigrate, so I can't support that. So if the Africans were immigrating, you'd support it? What the fuck's wrong with you? Shit is wrong. Like, period. Doesn't matter who the fuck's immigrating. Whatever the fuck you want to have happen. Just trash human being.
Well, I will say, hey, they are more industrious than American blacks.
Get blessing in.
This
sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish.
Find me one fucking black American living by the fucking myths perpetuated in fucking Alex Haley's Roots. Like, fucking hell. Roots wasn't even technically written by Alex Haley. His white publisher actually fucking wrote the shit, and Alex slapped his name on it. Like, it's not even something that was generated by a black person. Like, the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking ignorance.
And I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible. It was.
Right.
But they want to make it, like, more horrible so that they can control people.
The whole time. And so the Black Manosphere, to make me proud to an extent, some of these dudes is like, yo, fuck this shit. We don't fuck with Just Pearly Things no more. And mind you, I want to be clear, because I've actually, when this started happening, I actually went in and had a couple of conversations with some Black Manosphere. I'll be right back. So let me not give the Manosphere niggas too much credit. They would have been okay with her nonsense because they know she's a fraud. They know these dudes from the UK are just getting their money. They don't care. They want their misogynistic entertainment. They want somebody to talk bad about women. So they just kept it pushing. But thankfully,
that's my thing, though. Why do you just want somebody to talk bad about women or niggas? Like, why is that the thing you were seeking on the internet? Like, who has hurt you or taught you stupid ideals that you want to sit and hear a person just get trashed by the opposite sex? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why? I want to listen to somebody not even uplift, because that's a little extra, but I want to listen to somebody that helps me get more in tune with the thing that I would like to be around, which is women. So how about I listen to people that have healthy relationships with women, people that actually speak in a healthy manner about the disagreements or the things that men and women go through, instead of just like, oh yeah, her values tied directly to her womb. Like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Like, or just, he's not worth anything if he's not making six figures. Like, huh? Like, this is a crazy life. This is a crazy life. What are we doing here?
A handful of them had the wherewithal to be like, y'all can't, we not just gonna sit here and watch a white woman talk with a Nazi bad about us and be cool with it. But as I was saying before the camera went off, I actually went on a couple of Manosphere, chats or whatever, live streams, to hear directly from them. And like, it's clearly a division, right? There's some men who just like, they've never paid attention to her at all. There's some who were truly, I guess, hurt by what she's doing. And there are some that still have her back. There are some that still are riding for just pearly things, even as we speak.
That's what.
And I don't know enough to know what to call it, to know what to make of it. There's some that don't. That
cognitive dissonance, my brother, is what we will call this. We have video footage that is unrefutable that the bird is a shift or a shill. She's just out here saying just the worst fucking shit. Out here perpetuating shit ideas and platforming people, and not even with no pushback. The fact that if you are somebody who still supports this person because you like some of their ideas, but you can't actually call them bullshit on all the other shit, I'm just like, I can't respect you. I can't respect you at all. Like, you're just another lost soul just riding around as a goddamn sheep. Oh, well, she did say that, but she's not that bad and she's right on these points. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck at all. It's like shit. It's like, yay, I love Kanye. That's my nigga. I don't give a fuck about that nigga's ideas. That nigga's he's a fool. He's a fool, an utter cunt with the shit he's chatting right now. However, am I still banging a CD? You're goddamn right. Am I going to call him out on his fuckery at the same time as I'm banging a CD? You're goddamn right. I'm not about to sit here and act like, oh, well, the music's good, so, like, what he's saying over there don't... No, all the shit he's saying is stupid, but them albums still bang. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. People are so crazy.
I think the literal thing I heard from one of the brothers, and I might be being unfair, but it's the Black Manosphere, so I really don't care that much if I'm unfair. But basically what I feel like I heard is, as long as the message is getting out there, I'm not super worried about the messenger, which is fucking gross.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's
a fucking child?
Gross. Because basically what they're saying is, as long as somebody hates women, especially black women like I do, and they can share that sentiment to a wide audience, if they also happen to share neo-Nazi talking points, you know, you got to break eggs to make an omelet. You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't.
Like, I'm sure whenever this pops out, you know, for all I know, knowing some of these Black Manosphere niggas, they're streaming me streaming right now, because y'all know they do that. You know, part of it is just a lot of these dudes are clout demons. They just want to be seen and heard as much as possible. Part of this is some of these dudes are just truly broken and truly like taken in by this misogynistic worldview. You know, it very much behaves like a cult in a lot of ways. I mean, part of this is just sad. Whenever I talk about the Manosphere, and I take issue with the Black Manosphere in particular, most people know this shit isn't serious. These niggas not serious, right?
I would hope so.
There's always that small contingent. There's always that small fraction of dudes. I don't know what to call them small fraction. There's always that specific faction of Manosphere dudes that want to act like they really care about black people, about black men and boys. Wow, they want they want to hide all the shit. Like all the bad takes, all the illogical misreading of research and data, all the talking points that don't make sense under scrutiny, and all the overt misogyny and homophobia that they just let slide, you know, because we shouldn't control, we don't want to be tone policed. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff they give a pass to because they say what it's really about is black men and boys. And we're the only space where black men have a voice, which is fucking stupid and doesn't make any sense because there's a million spaces where black men have voices. We just had a whole three niggas from the Midwest spreading their voices on this channel just now about a real issue that affects black people and black men, and managed it was all we didn't get any misogyny in the conversation. It's a missed opportunity according to them niggas. They keep that. And for a select amount, for those brothers that are susceptible to that okie doke, to that lie, they keep running that play. But like, never has there been a more explicit example of how fallacious and hollow that sentiment is, in that a chunk of these dudes, most of these dudes I'd argue can't bring themselves to talk bad about Auntie Pearl.
I would say, if you can't bring yourself to call fuckery on all sides, race, gender, the fucking sexual orientation not included, like, I'm not using any of these things to be like, oh, that's a shit person. You're a shit person due to your ideals and the way that you carry yourself, especially when you were out in public and you were perpetuating terrible ideas. Because, again, I'm not focused on little black boys and girls. I'm not focused on little white boys and girls. I'm not focused on anybody outside of everybody needs to be able to hear good and healthy ideas, or if we are going to be real adults, that means we're going to hear some shit ideas. And we also need to then refute those shit ideas with good ideals and like conversation and talking points. That's the balance in the world that I wish to see. Because, yeah, people are going to have their bad ideas, their antiquated beliefs and feelings and stuff like this. But the way that you combat those is not by degrading these people. It's not by calling them names, even though they're fools. You still must present a good idea, and you must continue to present a good idea, and then just walk in that shit. Because after that, there's nothing you could do. The thing that I've learned the older I've gotten, once a person learns something, it is one of the most dangerous things that a human being's brain can do. Because once I learn it, I know it. And once I know it, it's going to be very hard for you to come tell me something about this. Best example I've come up with explaining this thought is, everybody, let's say, assumes we know how to cook. You know how to cut a potato. Perfect. If a 3-star Michelin chef comes and tells you how to cut a potato, all of us that have been cutting potatoes for years in our house will be like, oh, buddy, what are you talking about? Man knows how to cut potato cut man. That's just what it is. However, this person has a skill set, has spent time, educated themselves on how to cut a potato. They have a better idea on how to do the thing. Are you going to listen to them with an open mind, or are we going to be closed-minded like most people when learning something, because we have learned how to cut a potato, now having to learn it again from somebody who actually has the qualifications and the skill set to do so? There's going to be a lot of pushback. It's just what it is. So that's why I say it's very hard to help or change people's minds once they learn a thing, because it's just so ingrained and it becomes part of their belief system and sometimes their identity and personality. So it gets harder. Overall, though, Black Manosphere as a whole, all of it is fucking stupid. If there's a women's sphere, black and white, or just as a whole, it's fucking stupid. We're all people. Men and women are shit. We need to be better as people, and hopefully one day we get there. Until then, I'm calling niggas out on their fuckery. I'm enjoying my boy FD's content currently. Same with Ab and Priest, but I've been watching them, man, for years. So at this point, so they're just the OGs. I'm just getting more into FD's content, like I said. But yeah, that's it for me on this one. It's a good one for me to check out. Thank you guys for joining me. Please do hit that like, subscribe. Patreon's in the description. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.